Okay, Counselor Waltney, Counselor Wolverton.
Here.
Counselor Jones.
Here.
Counselor Nelms.
Here.
And Counselor Harden.
Here.
So you got 4 present, you have a quorum, and 1 out, which is the chair.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to,
No, you
or
can't
get a
make a motion.
motion.
You have to get a
Yes.
motion. You can't make a motion.
I'll motion.
I corrected.
Okay.
I have a motion to dispense the reading and approval of the minutes from August 7th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. That's,
Is that Harden and Wolverton?
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
All those approved?
Aye. Four of them.
We got 4?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, old business,
4-0 vote.
yes. Did I not say that?
Yeah, but he just changed it.
Oh, hi.
I just wanted to make sure you got it.
4-0.
4-0.
Now, on to old business, starting with 070323. Request for consideration of adjustments to criteria for approval of events impacting normal street flow and access, brought to us by Councilor Waltney, carried over from 8-7.
My
do you
guess
have
is
any-
that he's gonna wanna carry it over again, I will say, just for the
He's been
record.
working on that, I think.
But it's for a lot of things, so West Homewood had a race this weekend, I got
Mhm.
a number of complaints from neighbors regarding not being notified on the direct race route, et cetera, this is, we continue to hear this all over town whenever there's a race. I know we have talked in the past about a direct mailer, and we've talked previously on this item about making race sponsors responsible for making those notifications if they don't follow through. I think Councilor Waltney had mentioned a fine or some sort of punitive action for maybe not allowing the race the next year, that sort of thing, but I think part of the thing that he's trying to figure out is the communication between the police department and the city, because right now, it basically just goes through the police department.
Well, I know the city, I mean, I know Brian shared the route, you know, I know my best friend was the race director this weekend, so, I know that, she was working with Sergeant King, and I know Brian shared the route, so.
So the police department put out a social media post, the problem is.
And Brian shared it.
Yeah, the problem is not everybody's on social media, that's the problem. So, I had an angry neighbor reach out that said, I just found out, I have landscaping crews that are supposed to be here at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, how are they supposed to get here? Based on the race route, I can't leave my street either direction, and they can't come or go, so. I mean, there are valid concerns, I think, is the bottom line, and I think that's just reiterating the point for why it's on the agenda, but as far as I know, Andy doesn't have a.
But here's my question. We don't have anything to do with approving the events. That's solely in the, I mean, we've never voted, I mean, I know sometimes the park board.
I think that's why the item is considering adjustments to the criteria of approval.
I think he
Well,
wants.
He wants the city to be able to have some sort of.
No, I think.
Thank you, no.
No, I think what he wants the race directors to interact with the neighbors, and if they don't, he wants to ding them, is what it is. I will tell you, I know, you know, it's a double-edged sword, I mean, this group of people, I mean, Keith and I went to lunch at GM on Saturday, and there was a whole restaurant full of people who had
Sure.
stayed in the park, and they came and had lunch at our area restaurants after the event. So, I mean, you know, there were only 180 people, I mean, I get it.
I was there, I was at the.
I don't think it would be that unreasonable for them to put a mailer.
I agree with that,
On a
We've done that in the
5K
past.
or 1 mile
Lisa-
fun run route. It's
Like I
not
said,
that
Lisa,
hard, but-
my best friend was the race director, she and I have done that in the past,
Yeah.
with a couple of different races we worked on,
Sure.
with people. So that surprises me that she didn't do it, 'cause she usually does.
Yeah.
We talked about, before it was carried over last time, about, Andy mentioned signage, like making, well, trying to have
Curb
the,
signage.
I was about to say, I usually see signs that'll put
Yes.
like, race route or whatever,
Right.
they'll put, cause I know like when they do the, fun run, the
Right.
Homewood 5K, they always have signs up saying,
Mhm.
this
With
is
the
on the race
BTC.
route or whatever, yeah.
The signs this weekend just had directional signs, and they went up the night before, so it wasn't really,
Mhm.
there wasn't a whole lot of warning if you didn't already know that it was happening.
I will say too that the Homewood Police app also pushed out the route and notification as well as social
Right,
media.
and that's actually how she found out, was a neighbor said, hey, I just saw this, but, so.
Hmm. We'll go
We'll just
ahead
carry it,
and
yeah.
carry that one over until Counselor Gwaltney's back, and then we'll talk about those. And maybe he's getting some answers on how to effectively get the organizers to make sure they do that. Next is 160623, the request for consideration to reduce speed and safety on Seminole Drive next to Trinity United Methodist Church.
That makes it sound like we're trying to reduce safety on Seminole. We would like to make this street less safe. So we're not trying to do that.
Okay.
We got the results of the speed study, and while there were some incidences of people speeding, the average speed on the street was 23 miles an hour, which is actually below the speed limit. But when you consider that there's little children crossing the street at various times of the day and their parents, Randy and I discussed it, and we had talked about, Randy thought that this was gonna be part of the private school zone situation. I was like, no, this is not part of that. That's like actual schools, like OLS and the Montessori school. So this falls outside of that category. So what we decided was, Trinity already has, one of those, reflective stanchions on the Claremont side of the church from the large parking lot. So what Randy and I discussed doing was putting 2 of those on the Seminole side of the street, one kind of right there at the drop-off pickup line on Seminole, and then maybe either one a little higher up the hill toward the light or back down toward the stoplight. Stop sign. We haven't quite gotten that at Manhattan, but we're 2 of them on that street, and then after they're there for a couple of weeks or a month, doing another speed study to see if they've been effective in slowing people down. I mean, I do think that there is some validity to the fact that when there is something visually in your way, it makes you a little bit more apt to tap the brakes. So we're gonna try that, and I discussed that with both Alyssa, who is the director of the TCDC, and Hank Weldon, who is the president of their board, chair of their board now. And they were both fine with that. They thought that was a good first step. That street's difficult because we talked about crosswalks. Well, there's no real place for a crosswalk to go because there's a parking lot and then there's an alley, and you don't wanna put a crosswalk into the opening of an alley because cars can come up there. So we're gonna start with this and assess it afterwards, and Randy thinks he has money in his budget for this,
Okay.
so we're going, if we can take a vote on it and
Okay.
send it out to council, Walter is gonna make a motion to take care of the finance part of it from the floor on Monday night, so that we can go
Okay.
ahead and get those out.
If Randy's already got funding,
Well, we
do
still
we even
have
have
to-
to do that?
We just have to
We just have to basically
recommend that he
pay for it.
spend that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he still has to get a
Do
direct.
you know how much already?
I believe he told me that they are about $500 a piece, I believe is what he said.
We're gonna do 2, right?
And we're gonna do 2 of them, yes.
What do you need from me?
I don't think this is an ordinance, I think this is just, I guess just a resolution to approve putting the stanchions out on the street, I guess, to
So-
improve this, to reduce speed.
Are these the crosswalk median signs though, if there's no crosswalk?
No, they're like that, but they just say, cause like the one on the other side, well,
Yeah.
it's actually not at the crosswalk, it's kind of up from the crosswalk, but it just
Yeah.
says slow.
Okay.
It can say, he said it can say anything, it say slow children crossing,
Yeah, I thought there
or,
were several
there's
options.
multiple options
Okay.
for what we want the sign to say, and I'm gonna get with Alyssa and Hank to see what they kinda prefer for that, but it won't be like crosswalk, it'll say something about children crossing or something like that.
If we install them on right of ways, we certainly can do that.
Okay, so we don't even need a resolution?
I'd be glad to do one.
No, I mean, if we
It's
don't
not
need it,
necessary.
yeah, okay, then we're
It's
good.
in the city, right?
Yeah, no, it's on the street, so, yeah. Alright. then we're
Okay,
good.
can we move forward and get a motion?
Do we still have, so we don't have to do
No,
anything
there's no
Monday
stop
night?
sign or crosswalk.
No, we still have to do
It's not-
something, we still have to approve it.
There's no
We
ordinance.
just don't have to make an ordinance or a
Okay.
resolution.
The stop sign requires an ordinance because they have a penalty.
Right,
This is not.
yeah, there's no fine.
It's another.
So I need to make a motion to send it to the city council without recommendation?
No.
No,
No.
you just approve it.
Yeah,
Vote to approve.
Okay, so I make a
Motion.
motion for the city council to vote to approve it.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. On to new business.
Oh, wait, you gotta take the.
Oh, did we not vote? Oh,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Sorry about that. That's 4-0. On to new business, 050823, request for permission to install,
Baller.
A bollard?
A bollard is
Is it a
is
bollard?
basically a
that yellow
concrete
thing comes
structure,
out.
because
Comes out of
I
the
can
ground.
speak to this.
Okay, thank you. A bollard
Okay,
at the corner
okay,
of.
if you go by,
Crestmore.
right there next to the parking lot, you will see that, and this is at Odie's new location.
Mhm.
There are trucks that are taking that corner
Mhm.
too closely, and they're
Mhm.
knocking the side of the roof off, of the awning. So they're hitting the awning.
The back corner?
The front, right, the front
Really?
corner.
The
Yeah,
little
if you look at it,
Yeah. Oh, like right
someone,
there?
someone has hit it, yeah.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, so like right there on the top.
Does it stick all the way, Jack? Does it hit,
Yeah.
does it touch out
Yeah.
into the,
Oh, you're here, I didn't see.
is it
Yeah.
right there on the,
Is what?
I mean, people are cutting a corner, is that what's happening?
Yeah, if
Cut
you
a
go look
corner
at the,
and hitting that,
if you
yeah.
go look at the curb, it's just
Yeah.
black from probably trucks cutting
Yeah.
the corner, and
I
we
believe
got
it,
an
'cause
email
everyone's
from a
getting
lady
feet.
the day it happened that her kid was standing right there and about got hit.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
So,
believe it.
Wow.
it typically happens when there's no car in that first spot, that first parking lot spot, because there's no hard curb there, it's all
Right.
It's all flat.
flat, and so I think that serves two functions, it helps our awning not get hit for the third time, and,
And safety.
safety for children walking across the street, so.
Okay, I have a question, Kale. Does it need to be right there, or does it need to be two?
I was
Is
about
that-
to say, does it need to be two, one on either side
Yeah.
of the?
Because, well, I guess they hadn't run over the directional sign yet, so. maybe-
Well, they're coming from this direction
Right.
typically, heading west on Oxmoor and turning right.
We don't need to put them in the crosswalks.
No, I just
No.
thought, do we
I
need
meant
another one on
like-
the other
No, 'cause
side?
they're
Like
not
right here.
turning that.
Oh,
both
they're not
sides.
turning that way?
I mean, when they're turning, coming this way, they're in the other lane.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I was just thinking, if they go around, could they still not get up on there?
Yeah,
If
can
they
they-
get around that bollard, they're not going.
They're not gonna
Okay.
get up there, okay.
It's a
Will it be
deterrent
big
once,
enough?
if they hit that one, they're gonna hit the next one. There is no, that's, yeah.
So one's all we need.
So what do you recommend, Kale?
So there was a detail, I think, on the drawing. It's not you're not proposing a concrete bollard. It's,
I thought it was a concrete.
Yeah, whatever y'all want.
Oh, is it just like one of the metal ones that they have out at the
it was like a,
trail?
Is the awning hanging out one in the city right on it?
I thought it was more like,
It's like-
this
sounds like it's hanging out
smooth
that
bollard
far. What's
sleeve,
that?
yellow
Let's see.
reflective thing. This is what you said.
There it is, okay. There it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Bollard sleeve.
But is it, I mean, is that,
That's actually probably not the right, it probably needs to be a.
I was about to say, cause is that gonna,
people
if a
just
truck
run
hits
that
that,
over.
yeah.
I mean, just like they do on Graceville.
Yes,
I mean, the
exactly.
thing is, if they run it over, they're gonna take out the awning anyway, so it's like, something needs to be there, y'all just tell me what you want.
I think it needs to be more of a permanent
So a
type.
concrete bollard.
Something that would
Yeah.
cause damage to their vehicle.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it needs to be not just a little one, I mean, it needs to be a bigger.
Like a wider one?
You put one like we did over there on, Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
By the gas station.
Yeah.
More like a half wall or something?
No, it's not
No,
at
it
all.
looks like that.
No, it's a round
Yeah.
bollard, like you
Bigger-
see.
bigger.
It's just a little thicker.
Every baller, yeah, yeah,
It's just, that's,
yeah,
Okay.
bollard.
It's a
I'll put
real
bollard there.
deterrent.
Okay, back to the,
You
so-
hit it, you
I-
ain't going
So
nowhere.
Jack, you're gonna send me a detail, we're gonna talk
Hit it
about this
twice.
tomorrow, and then I'm gonna get you, Mr. Kendrick,
There'll be a right-of-way agreement.
yeah, indemnification agreement to work in the right of way.
Yeah, and I'll just have Matt Shelby's team do that.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about who was doing it.
So they're talking about putting it in?
And-
I'm sorry?
They're talking about
Yes.
putting it in?
I would
Yeah,
just-
they will install it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they would install, it. So, I
Well,
would,
what I would put in the agreement is it would be installed pursuant to a permit issued by you.
Right.
So does it need to go to Public Works next?
I don't know. There's another item that we're gonna discuss after this, and, President Wyatt said that we could take it all up in here. That's what I heard when we met out in the parking lot that day. Walter, you were there. So I don't know, Nick, if it needs to go.
Oh, okay. Cause we're also looking at to amend the dumpster license agreement. for the parking lot.
Mhm.
Seems like you'd separate those.
Yeah, I think that's part
Two
two of
different
this.
places.
Well, we just need to deal with this one first, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think that's,
Mhm.
they were asking if it needs to go to Public Works because of the indemnification agreement.
I don't,
No, I was
I don't
just,
think so. I mean,
I
I
was
think
just-
we make the motion to grant permission to install the bollard, Oxmoor and St. Charles, with the proper indemnification agreement and with an agreement of what the end product is gonna be.
That's right.
okay,
The
what's the
owner
dumpster part of this?
And and staff.
It's a totally separate item on the back side of the building, would be my guess.
Okay,
So
so
that's not
are we not including that here?
Is it
or-
on there?
It's
No,
not part of this- it's
that's not
part
part of this motion. That's a separate discussion.
But it is the same, it is all lumped in the same item.
Yeah.
That's what she's asking.
Right, and, yeah, and yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Well, it's in a different committee, isn't it? What do we
No,
do?
it's all
This
the
is
same
all on the
committee.
It's
same.
right here on.
You
the-
can,
committee.
you can send out two different motions
Okay.
out of one agenda item.
Okay,
And that, I think that's what the purpose was for this.
Oh, the dumpster.
okay, all
Yeah,
right,
the
well, let's,
dumpster.
do the request for permission to install the bollard at the corner of Oxmoor first.
I think Walter said, I think Walter, did you
Yeah,
make that
yeah.
motion? Yeah.
Okay. Walter, Counselor Jones made the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So 4-0. And there's nothing else?
The second
The
part
dumpster.
Oh, sorry.
of this is the dumpster location. So there's an agreement that was made, with the Cindy Wade estate, to have a dumpster here in this location where it's not currently there, but it was there for a long time. And Odie's and Jack Little, who's here with Red Rock, is proposing that we move it. This is the location that we've all kind of agreed on, that makes the most sense for the parking lots. And then the enclosure will look like, Brian's got the elevation. Yep, that's it. So, 1x6 slats, 8 feet tall on 3 sides,
And that backs up to,
to Mr. Ketchum's building.
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense than the other side, cause you can't back out if there was a parking space there.
So who is
Does that make sense?
Who is the owner of the property?
That's the city.
The city
isn't it?
I think we own it.
Well,
So we have a lot.
I mean, the agreement's with the owner of the property where Odie's is.
Yeah, that's our agreement does. We bought it from the Wades. I guess, I don't know if
Yeah.
should I provide any context on it.
Sure.
So the license agreement is between the Wade estate, cause they own that property, to give you a right to put a dumpster in that location.
Our understanding was once we bought the property, so when we bought the property, the Wades owned these parking lots as well. I wrote a contract to purchase the parking lots, and she said the city has the right of first refusal to purchase the parking lots.
Right.
They exercised that. We knew we had, I said, we would need a dumpster there, like they had there eventually, long-term. And so our understanding was that license was to, down the road, once our project was finished, we would still have that license to do so. When I talked with Kale and over the months, talking with Alex and Kale, for a long time now, it was like, we'll figure out a location, so we went out on site, and that was discussed. I don't wanna upset Jeffrey, certainly, he has intentions to maybe, I sold Jeffrey that building.
Walter?
He's a client of mine.
Let me
I've heard
address
about it.
when we bought the property, there was no agreement other than what's here, that was with Cindy Wade. I don't know what Cindy Wade or someone else told you, but there was no standing agreement that would be guaranteed a license to put a dumpster anywhere other than that location as a picture.
so if they wanna move it, does that mean they've gotta get the city's permission?
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But let me ask this, cause I know when the big construction dumpster was over there, it was blocking like 3 or 4 or 5 parking spaces, until they moved it. That would block, if it was stayed in the same location, it would block a parking space, correct? But if it it moves down here, it's not taking up parking space, right? That's not a parking space on that side of the line, right?
People still park there.
Well, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, people still
That's-
park.
People-
I mean, it's a parking spot for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, but I mean, not if there's a dumpster there.
Sure, yeah.
But I think it clears out the lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's way better than having it over here. Now, it's
Yeah.
a little bit
With an
farther walk for the
enclosure, that,
employees.
you know, and
having to
that's
go
gonna
over.
really help to have that enclosure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, does that bother y'all?
Yeah, I would not like it there. I mean, my building's right on the property line,
Mhm.
that's shown off of it in this drawing. But where it is now seemed a lot more, I guess, hospitable to us than literally putting it right up next to us. Just,
It's a little off that center line, that dashed line, right now in the very back of the property, if you were to walk out there.
Yeah, right now it's in here.
yeah.
It's sitting in the,
Oh.
right
It's
there.
not where it's supposed
Well,
to be.
okay,
Right.
here's a crazy question, Kale. That top corner,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
cause that's not really a parking space either, and that's just next to the street. I mean, it is technically, I know somebody parks there, whatever, who cares? But is that a possible location for it?
Might as well just go straight right there.
Just right
Straight
there, yeah,
across.
yeah. Right
Yeah,
there.
it's certainly possible. The challenge with that is that here it's tucked away, there's a vegetative buffer. Jeffrey's got his building with the windows here. Over here, it's kind of more out open, right?
There's a
With the
driveway.
Similar, yeah, there's a driveway here,
The
right
house.
here.
It's
Somebody
tucked
lives
away
here
in there, no.
and there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So it'd be an obstruction there.
Right.
This
I
is
think
where-
there's actually a vacated alley, that's actually a vacated alley.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think the driveway's on there.
Would this dumpster be for use of Odie's only?
Ostensibly, no, and, you know, part of the, I don't know if we wanna get into a broader discussion about this block in general, but there's, you know, the dumpsters behind Sam's are being used by 7 or 8 different tenants there's just, everybody's landlocked here, you know, and without a lot of real estate to dump trash, but no, it would not just be them, it would be that building, the building in general.
Okay, so
What
like
three?
frothy monkey potentially.
What
We
three
wouldn't do it.
sides is it enclosed? Is it enclosed on the
So,
sides and the back?
Yeah, I mean, if you did gates, the gates, just the dumpster, people,
They
they
just
don't
stay
ever
open.
close the
Yeah, yeah,
gates.
yeah, right,
So
right,
it
right,
just,
It'd be on, so technically the back that was facing your building would be, there'd be
Enclosure.
it's the
fence,
slide of
yeah.
fence back there.
And I mean,
Right.
if that's where y'all want it, if everybody agrees to that, and like I said, we would even maybe build a second fence behind that, that was taller to obscure, I
To
mean, I
make
think,
it, you know, lock it more.
lock it more.
Thank you. Let me ask something else. Would y'all mind using something size of wood, maybe like Trex board or something like that?
The
I know-
reason
I
I
know.
suggest wood is cause I'm paying for it on
I know.
y'all's property, and y'all would have the right to like tomorrow be like, hey,
Yeah.
guys, we changed our mind, you know, that was
I just
my
know,
comment to
I know how
Calvin.
the wood fences end up, they start sagging over time and.
Well, and that also, is a good point. I understand that there's, and maybe this is just, you're saying this, but a proposal long-term, maybe medium-term, to redo these parking lots
Oh, I don't know.
completely, which would be great and well-received by the community, I think. In which case, maybe we could really, at that point, identify a spot that's,
You know, you could block it or brick it then. I know how those fences end up over time, so.
we wanna be good neighbors to everybody there. Jeffrey, you know, people behind the street, you know, I think there's, that's really the goal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, unless we had some assurance that it could be there for an extended amount of time, you know, like years, I'm not sure we wanna go spending $30,000 to have something that could be taken away.
Jeffrey, is yours a sight thing, a noise thing? What's your?
Yeah, it's just an overall nuisance thing. Definitely that's literally my office is on the other side of that block wall. Would be touching the wood fence. You know, if we could look at moving it further up, I mean, where it is right now, you know, everybody's it's about where that 703 is, on that, yeah, right about there.
That's about where it is now.
If we could put it up there, that would be my request. I mean, people are navigating through there, they're doing a good job of not hitting it during peak hours.
where it is now, and Walter, you saw it, I mean, it feels like it's just sitting out in the middle of the
It
park.
feels like it's in the middle of the
It's in
parking
the
lot.
way.
It just
and-
does not,
Yeah.
it's not a good place to put it. There's,
And Jeffrey, your window faces.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't have, truth be told, I don't have a window in that part of the office, looking at that, I just look at it from once it goes here, it's never leaving. I mean, more than likely. And what we end up doing, we do have plans already drawn to put a second story on our building. And it would be, just because of the elevation changes, I mean, it would be right there. Like, it would be abutting the building.
and do you have a dumpster on the front?
We have a dumpster.
You have a dumpster on the
that's
front, don't you?
around the front, that's behind a brick wall,
Yeah,
not
over
right
there.
there.
Oh.
No, it's, if you, I
No,
don't know if there's
it's-
any more to scroll down on that.
Oh, it's like,
It's
toward
like,
the
so
street.
you're
It's
next
toward
to,
the street.
you're already next to a dumpster. That's what I'm trying to figure
It's
out.
not
I mean,
enclosed.
But
Small
it's a dumpster that's 3.5 feet tall, you wanna put a 3.5 feet tall, 4-foot dumpster there, that's a different discussion, but we're talking about putting a dumpster for restaurants. I mean, and it's changed once a week. And truth be told, I mean, where mine is now, yeah, it would have to change if we do the expansion on the building.
Where is it on this, guys?
Flip it, keep spinning around, right?
Oxmoor Road.
Right there.
Yeah, you see mine, it's tucked up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's tucked up right there by that wall.
Would it, are there any alternatives such as off Stewart Street? Doesn't Red Dot have a?
We
something
don't
like
have
that?
the real estate, and, I have a strong suspicion that our neighbors behind us on Stewart Street would, be very, very unhappy with that solution. And we would have to it would be a major hardship for us to have to build out, I'm not even sure we'd have the real estate, which is why
Yeah.
the way it's, this is coming full circle to the point of this.
Okay.
And when you say Stewart Street neighbors,
Oh,
you
I'm
don't
sorry,
mean the
I'm talking about Stewart Street on our side. Yeah, you could possibly on Stewart Street on the left side.
Okay. And then again, I mean, this topic again just does seem like more of a public works committee item, than public safety. I mean, I know it's a combined item, I think that's how it ended up here, but.
It seems to me that the best place for hiding it and access to it's in that same corner that y'all picked, Cal. That seems to me the best hidden.
Thank you, John.
I'm sure you worked very hard, you got plans out.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
And we could, I mean, like I said, we could work to put up a secondary fence behind it. I know Cale mentioned, or Walter maybe
Yeah.
mentioned that when we were there, just to maybe make it a little bit taller.
My gut is that's the best place it seems to put it to kind of hide it.
Brian, let me see the, yeah, oh, yeah, cool, okay. So right there.
See that corner?
Yeah, that was really the thinking, is that to try to not encroach on neighbors, and it's more of a commercial endeavor, so tuck it there, but.
Right, no.
Plus it's easier access with trucks, getting in and out.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jeffrey, the aesthetics of the fence, are you good with that? Because I'm just trying to be realistic, and I think that's the only place to put it. And I know I think it used to be there, didn't it?
No,
I mean, the
I mean,
one
like
that's
a long
where it
time
used to
ago.
be is up here.
It used to be on the front
In the
corner.
front.
Okay.
And it was a small dumpster too. That only happened when the city quit picking up business trash, business garbage. They put a small dumpster out there for the antique store. It was never a large.
It's about the
Yeah.
size of Jeffrey, yeah, whatever you have on
Yeah.
your.
It's a little one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, it'd be kept, they would handle it all on their property, but, I haven't looked into what the feasibility is of that. I do know you have neighbor concerns there as well. I'm trying to be cognizant of that. I mean, Jonathan and Lindsay, they're right there on the corner. So I'm not,
revisit what he's saying about the fencing and making an aesthetic look from, from your view.
Yeah, so my view is gonna be looking down on it. I mean, the second story would go right there.
Well, I would even say if Jeffrey does build a second story and has windows looking down at it, I'd put if we knew it was gonna be there, it's working out, everybody's happy with where it is, barring that Jeffrey develops a second story and has a window facing it, yeah, we could rip it, yeah. I mean, at that point, I think this is sort of like, hey, let's get our bearings here, let's make sure everybody's on the same page before we go building a really heavy-duty enclosure on this site, that you might see. If you go up and down these streets in these commercial buildings, there are dumpsters just strewn about all over the place.
It's bad.
That's my real take on that,
Yeah.
is that like, we're
Yeah.
trying to be as neighborly as we possibly can in this whole endeavor, and, no one else seems to.
Well, and I think, cause I was like, could you put it across the street, but, then you're just putting it right next to somebody's house, and to be honest,
And they're gonna be there, around the
yeah,
block.
yeah.
I mean, even if you look at Edgewood Elementary's dumpster, it's,
Kinda just out there.
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
we're trying to do the best we can for everybody here.
But I think your suggestion that if whenever the second story goes up, whenever that is, which may be soon, it may be later, to have it covered so that that's not, once you look down, you're not looking down into a dumpster full of garbage.
Yeah, that can be incorporated in how it's written up. That's, once again, that's
You
not.
put you a smaller window on that second story.
Yeah.
You got
Skylight.
somebody hanging out, looking out over there, and that's distance away from your office. Come on now.
It's a distance away from home?
Yeah.
It's a button mall.
Like you'll have a view looking out.
The way it's proposed right now, it's, the fence will be literally right next to it.
I think we can give it, I think, Kayla, if you go back to the page with the drawing, there's or whoever's running the show.
I mean, you got the pilers in right there, and then it looks like that's right where it's should go in.
So it's several feet away.
Parking spaces are what, 18 feet?
Uh,
18 by
Yeah,
It's
9 by 18.
So it'll be, it'll be 8 feet off of the, cause we want it to be where a car won't block it, an angled car wouldn't block
Right.
it. So it'll be roughly 8 feet off of the edge of the property line, I would think. Or maybe 10 feet if that's not actually the edge of the property line.
And you're willing to proffer that if they build a second story, that,
Have an enclosure on top.
As, assuming that everyone in this room collectively is happy. Yeah,
All you gonna put is a tilted kind of cover lean-to on there.
yeah.
Right where that truck is.
And as you're gonna do it now, it will have the fencing?
We'll fence it, yes.
Okay.
If, there's been talk about, because truth be told, I'm concerned about people having too much to drink, hanging out, and pulling over the top of that wall right there. I don't know if there's any thoughts or consideration of what's been done, or about maybe putting fencing up across there, or y'all can put, I don't know, just something to keep cars from potentially rolling off. But if you are thinking about possibly doing a fencing material across the top, maybe that ties into what we're doing here, so that they can theoretically look good together.
But you can have an overrun on one of them jobs, put that fence up along there. You get up and sit down,
Right.
Jeff,
Red Rock will
yeah,
frame.
parking lot.
I think that'd be a good gesture on your part, that second story.
Second story, yeah.
I think that'd be a good one to watch.
And related to this, placement, obviously, so we're talking about work in the right of way, are we talking about terms of leasing the space as well? Has that been discussed, a rate for that? Or would it just be, what is this discussion?
So it's to amend the agreement that the city
Well,
has.
the agreement really doesn't apply anymore, cause it simply says,
That's why we're here today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanna make me pay to lease that spot for our dumpster, just let me know,
Well, I'm just saying a lease would give you some type of assurance too, of like,
Well,
using the
it's
space
still,
for
well, it
a
still
term.
would work in our right of way, I don't know,
you're gonna have a right of way
agreement either way.
Okay.
Yes, I was thinking it would be both. the work and then it's also the agreement about continued use and the term of that, correct?
The right-of-way agreement provides it stays in until we terminate the notice.
Okay, so we need to just look at the motion to amend the dumpster license agreement.
Well,
for the
there's
right-of-way
not
work.
really there's not a dumpster license agreement. What y'all need to do is give him permission to place the dumpster there and do a, what do you call it, indemnification agreement to work in the right of way, right?
Okay, is that not what his license agreement is
But
asking
there is
for?
no license agreement, so he's saying that was with the previous property owner.
Right.
That agreement
So
was
we're
not
looking
with
to
us.
amend it.
Property, it became
No,
non-conforming.
there's no amendment because it doesn't exist.
It was between the property,
didn't
the previous
address it.
property owner and the previous property owners of each parcel.
Right, yes, it was between Debbie, it was between Cindy
Right.
Wade
Cindy Wade,
and the
right.
old property owner. So that
Okay.
that agreement is not any part of this at
Okay.
all, cause they don't own it and we don't, he doesn't own it and we don't, we didn't own it and he didn't own it.
So we're just giving him permission to work in the right way.
I don't know that that's, so that there was an agreement between the city of Homewood and the Wade estate when we bought the property, that there would be a dumpster provided on these two lots. There is a dumpster agreement.
It was, and it was right
For
in
that
front.
other space.
But it was in the contract for us too, it was part, I
Right.
mean, that's how I,
Right, so
That's
that's
how
why I
it's
said we
made.
would amend the agreement. So they could move it from the space that was identified in the agreement to somewhere else.
Okay.
Smells good.
I negotiated a screaming deal for y'all with parking lots too. Just total sidebar.
So is it a new agreement or is it an amended?
You just made us pay $500,000. That's all.
I'll buy it back.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I was about to say,
No,
we'll keep
no,
it.
that's the law.
We'll keep it there.
That's one of the best investments we've ever made.
We need
that parking. Okay. We're gonna need
it more.
So we have an agreement or we don't have an agreement?
I don't know.
What are we doing?
We do not. So.
But
Wait a
according
minute.
to, according.
I think we do have an agreement, that it came with the purchase of those lots, that they still got a dumpster.
It did not come with the purchase of those lots.
So,
It just did not.
okay.
If you want it to be, it can be.
Well, I thought you said just a minute ago it did come.
No, I said it did not.
It did not, so that's why I'm saying I would move to.
If you wanna give him a new agreement, certainly you can do that.
Oh my God. Let's see.
Who wants to make a motion to whatever we're amending here or doing?
Does it change the intent just to create a new agreement at this point?
No.
And the consequence and the product of said agreement will be the same, so,
Yeah.
and it would override any previous agreement anyhow.
Absolutely, you can do that. Or you can do it the, right-of-way agreement, whatever you prefer.
You just get the new agreement and then override anything that existed before it.
Okay, anybody like to make a motion to have an agreement for the dumpster to be moved? Cause it's already there.
I prefer this is the right-of-way agreement.
Okay, all right. Motion?
And then also to accept the proffer that if there is a
Oh.
Yes,
second
happy to do
story.
that.
Okay, thank
and
you.
we would enclose it, and then.
They would enclose it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it would be
Fancy.
enclosed.
Okay, and off
Someone
the property
would
line,
enclose
all of that, okay.
Some human
Okay.
would enclose it.
Okay.
And I would maybe add to that motion that Kale will approve the final plans of it.
That's always in there.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be part,
Okay.
that's part of it.
So, are
I
we
made the
including the
motion,
actual?
And.
I'll second.
And then Mr. Hart seconded.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, are you?
Yes, you need to tell.
Right-of-way agreement.
Yeah, provide.
Okay.
Is,
And indemnification.
Mr. Jones, are
Proper
you
indemnification.
specifying the exact location?
Yes,
Yes,
be attached to the map,
Okay.
it'll be attached
Okay.
to the agreement.
based on what Kale was giving. But, some.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0? Only for 2 people.
So that would be.
Okay, all righty.
Oh, it's a hard one.
Yeah, yeah.
You got
That's
your
okay.
money's worth right
That's
there.
okay. I'm good.
Thanks,
So,
Andy.
if that is all, we will, call this meeting adjourned.